WBNE.
Howdy, yokes. Before we get started today, I just want to let you know this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by you, the person listening to this right now. I'm Ethan Edgehill from the hit movie podcast, Bacon and Eggs, a Movie Lovers podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts and now on Spotify. And I just wanted to say thank you for listening to this show that we've been making for like 3 and some change years. It's crazy that so many people tune in every single week and listen to me and Tyler, and sometimes me and another person, and sometimes Tyler and another person talk about a movie that you may or may not have seen. Especially shout out to those of you who listen to the ones for the movies you haven't seen. It's a great time. We could not do this show without you. We would not do this show without you, and we very much appreciate you. And I just wanted to take this time to say thank you for everything you do for us, for giving us an audience and a reason to make this podcast. Anyway, on with the episode. Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And today we're at war.
Or maybe we're just looking for our brother.
So pull a German pilot out of a plane.
And run for your life.
Because today we're bringing you
1917.
And that is not Tyler Carlin with me today. That is Jade Scivally from the wonderful critical review podcast, Curly Critics. I almost tried to say your movie podcast. That's not true. You do way more than just movies, but I only know one lens to look at things out of. Jade, introduce yourself to the world.
Hi, I'm Jade Scivally. Yep, I'm a Curly Critic. The other one's Carrie.
Their show is a new addition to WBNE Network as of this year, and it has been so much fun having them around. I know you two have been on a couple of our other shows, and I'm glad to get you on board. Got to get Carrie in here soon, and we'll do a whole thing where all 4 of us do a podcast together, and it'll be absolute chaos. But
yes,
in the meantime, thank you so much for filling in for Tyler this week. It means the world to me that I can count on people to do that.
Does that mean I get to be Bacon?
You can be Bacon.
Yes.
You absolutely can be Bacon. Yeah. I still remember Tyler was like, yo, when we first started the podcast, Tyler was like, yeah, not that anybody's ever going to ask, but I'm Bacon. I was like, dang it. Now he gets to be Bacon and I don't. This sucks. But anyway, yeah. I'm Ethan Edgehill. I occasionally, they call me Eggs sometimes, even though I don't like that because I don't like eggs. Anyway, this is we're talking about 1917 today. The Oscar-winning Sam Mendes vehicle released December 25th, Christmas Day, 2019, which was, hey Siri, how many days ago was December 25th, 2019? Oh, come on.
So many.
It was 861 days ago, as the crow flies. This movie was made at a $95 million budget and made 384 point something million worldwide. Got an 89% critic rating and an 88% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 78 on Metacritic. Jade, do you have a professional critical review of this movie for me?
Yes, I do. Let's see. This is by Namrata Joshi. The film dazzles at each step, one encounter and adventure after another shot like a set piece, complete in itself with McKay's stoic presence adding to the pathos and poignancy.
Perfect. Love that. I've got a negative review here from Julia Swift of My Champlain Valley, because no professional, proper critics disliked this movie, apparently. And it's just people from Strange Productions or publications. And Julia says, this beautiful cinematography cannot make up for the weak screenplay and performances that pale in comparison to Roger Deakins' imagery.
Okay.
Jade, on a scale of 0 to 100, where does this movie fall for you?
I honestly, I'm going to go with 75.
75. Okay. Interesting. I would say like a solid 83 for me.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this one. I think I enjoyed the first 30 to 45 minutes of it more than I enjoyed the rest of it, for sure.
Oh no. The first hour I hated.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is
the
that?
The last hour I really liked, so that's awkward.
I don't know. I eventually started getting bored.
Oh no, I thought the first part was boring. That sucks.
I don't know. It's so pretty. It's so like fun
It
to
is
look
really
at.
pretty.
Like, this is a whole different level of filmmaking. Like, Birdman is one of my favorite movies ever. I'm a sucker for a good movie that looks like a oneer. Like, that is a good way to get me in the door. And so when they're doing all this stuff and like it looks like one continuous take somehow, man, I'm in. I'm all in. I really enjoyed this movie. Not that I got bored, but just like I eventually got tired of just this dude having a really bad day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when its only personality trait is, oh, the movie with the one shot, it's like, okay, do you remember anything else about it? Was there anything else spectacular about it? No, just that? Okay.
So I think this just comes from a sharp lack of World War I representation, especially among like famous war movies, especially in the last, I don't know, 50 years. Because like there were a bunch of World War I movies, but nobody's ever seen them because they were all, boring and black and white and made in 1930, made prior to the point when it was still just called the war,
Yeah.
When they didn't think there was going to be a second one, a sequel, if as it were.
The only war, World War II. Who's that?
The war to end all wars. Like it turns out, guys, it wasn't.
Awkward.
So what do you texted me yesterday and said, "Hey, I've been really feeling the war movies recently. Tell me about that because that's not something we've really covered on this show previously. Tyler's not much of a war movie person.
Yeah, I've been asking Carrie for a while, hey, I want to do Hacksaw Ridge. I want to do some war movies. It's something I've recently just gotten into. I think starting with Hacksaw Ridge and going with 1917. I've watched a few others. Can't remember all their names, honestly. But
they all have some. There's like a formula for the name, right? Like they
yeah,
all
definitely.
I
War Horse, that's one, I think.
Yeah.
That one's like Disney-fied.
Wait, which one is this?
War Horse?
Oh, War Horse. Yeah, no, that's a whole different.
That's not quite a war movie.
No, not quite. Although I think it is about World War One. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Also, I think the one thing that all war movies have to have is Benedict Cumberbatch, apparently. That's a thing.
Is that a thing? I don't know. I think the last time I watched a new war movie was probably like Fury back in the early 10s maybe.
My gosh.
Yeah, because we did this whole thing for a while where it was all like, oh, we're going to make movies about Desert Storm and all that. And
yeah.
I did watch American Sniper.
Yeah.
I did watch American Sniper. I've never been much for the post-Vietnam War movies. I'll tell you that much. Not made post-Vietnam.
Those are hard, yeah.
Ones that take Zero Dark 30, The Hurt Locker. Those really have nothing to offer me as far as what I want to watch. But I grew up on World War II movies for sure. Mm-hmm. That was my dad's favorite thing. I have seen so many terrible war movies about World War II, Korea, Vietnam, all of them. But I haven't seen a lot of the recent ones, honestly. I haven't seen Dunkirk even still for some reason.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. That's on my list. I did 13 Hours. That one was pretty good.
13 Hours. Is that the John Krasinski one?
Yeah.
About Benghazi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have not seen that one at all.
I liked that one because it showed just such a different perspective. It was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. And a lot of them have been doing that recently. This hey, hang on, America might suck actually thing. That's kind of why I liked this movie is because we're not involved at all in it.
Yeah.
I know we did fight in World War I. I think in some, yeah, definitely we did.
Yeah. But it was England, France, Germany.
Yeah.
That's it.
Trench warfare is the thing. That's World War I. That's the only way they were able to make this movie the way they did. Because if this was a World War II tank movie, no way could they have gotten away with the oneer like this.
No, definitely not. Because all the trenches.
Yeah, and that's fast. This felt like a horror movie a lot of the time, especially for the first hour.
I think the silence had a lot to do with that. Like the score was just so. I thought it was really weird. The different parts of it that had music in it were kind of random. But the silence is what really makes it a horror movie, or like the humming sound in the background. You're like, oh my gosh.
Well, and so I got halfway, or not halfway, I got like 5 minutes into this movie and I was like, this is going to be best experienced if I turn this off on my television and go watch it on my computer with like my proper headphones. So I got like the full effect. And let me tell you, there's not a single second of this movie that is not scored in some way. It's all this like crazy like drone stuff going on in the background. And I'm sitting here like grabbing my keyboard, just like any second now there's going to be like a zombie that pops out at him. And like, turns out this isn't actually a war movie. This is the Germans turned into zombies. That's what happened.
Yeah, I think when I watched it the first time, I definitely felt like, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen, but that thing never happened. It felt super suspenseful just the whole time.
Well, there was that part right at the sort of the beginning where they had the explosion in the mine, in the trench.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely got me when he was like, that's tripwire, and then the rat trips the wire, and I was like, oh god.
Oh my gosh. Oh, there it goes. They're dead now.
There it goes. They sure are. But they weren't dead, turns out. Both of them survived that, just for the other one to die, the one that didn't get hurt bad to die 30 minutes later.
Oh my gosh, that made me so mad.
Oh, I was so sad. I was so upset. That was like the most upset I've been since like Saving Private Ryan.
I know. I was traumatized.
God.
Like, it's fine, whatever. They were just trying to save this guy's life.
Yeah, they were just trying to help this pilot, and he decides to stab the dude.
Jerk.
So, when I first saw trailers for this movie, and this has nothing to do with the movie at all, just a crazy coincidence that I cannot like separate from my brain. When I first saw this movie, I saw that it was a Sam Mendes movie, and I didn't really know who Sam Mendes was at the time, and I thought for the life of me that it said it was Shawn Mendes.
I know, I kept thinking that.
So even today, when I was watching this movie, I definitely kept waiting for Shawn Mendes to show up, and I was like, why is Shawn Mendes in this war movie? This is a crazy, because he's not an actor, and I get that Harry Styles did that, but like, that was different.
This is like totally off brand. What are you doing, buddy?
No, Sam Mendes, the movie director who does, I don't know, movies. He made one of the Bond movies, I think. I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I really did. This is a, I don't want to say it was fun, because
it's not fun.
It's not fun. It's a good one to watch.
Yeah.
It's extremely pretty. It's very well shot. It's very well color graded, which is something you don't get a lot in war movies, especially recent war movies where they actually have some colors.
Yeah.
Instead of just the, like the single sepia tone, like, oh, you're in the Middle East filter where like everything looks like a sandstorm. This is, it's got everybody in the world in it as far as if you're a British actor.
Oh my god.
Especially a British actor that formerly worked on the TV show Sherlock.
Yep. Andrew Scott's also in a lot of different war movies. I'm like,
Andrew Scott is the Moriarty guy?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like, do they just pick these guys?
I mean, to be fair, he probably had to show up for like 8 minutes to do that scene.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's
then
like,
just left.
oh, you want me to do this and get a bunch of money for it? Sure. Whatever.
They had to have been filming something else that they were just like nearby or whatever.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's fantastic. He's one of the best actors I've seen, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he lends a lot of life to this movie at the exact moment where it sort of needed some life.
Yeah.
Because, like, I do think that that's what this movie struggles from, is that it directly follows two people and then one person.
Yeah.
And so for the first, until Blake dies, you just get a lot of, like, them talking at each other, kind of like having a nonsense conversation.
Yeah, it's like there's dialogue, but is there dialogue?
They're just, like, filling time, basically.
Yeah.
The script is not what wins this movie. It's
no.
It's awards. And that's, to be fair, that's true for most of these movies. You know, that they're not all going to be Saving Private Ryan. They're not all going to be The Great Escape. You know, it's tough. Tough to do that, especially for a battle that nobody knows about in a war that nobody in America especially really knows anything about anymore.
Yeah.
Did you learn about World War One in school? I mean, obviously, but like...
Yeah, I'm sure I learned more than I remember.
I feel like we never stopped talking about World War II and like...
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, oh, World War II, I know a lot about that. World War One was a thing. Yeah.
And it's like weird that like they don't talk more about World War One, because like I get why they don't talk about Vietnam and Korea, because like those are just mistakes that we made for racist and political reasons. But like World War One is just like, I don't know, just like a mess, right? Like just it was all like BS political deals that went wrong, and then somebody shot Franz Ferdinand, and then there was a war. And a bunch of people died, and a bunch of countries that don't exist anymore fought, you know, England and France.
Yeah.
And this is like pre-Hitler Germany, which I always think is, we just talked about this when we did Wonder Woman, but like pre-Hitler Germany is such a different place that I know nothing about.
No.
So, what was I going to say? Yeah, the script here is not where this movie earns its money for sure, but it's not like, it's not bad. The dialogue's kind of bad sometimes. And even when Benedict Cumberbatch comes in, I'm just like, what is your motivation here, man?
What are you doing?
Like, it was the laziest foreshadowing ever when Moriarty was like, yeah, if, you know, when you get to the corporal or the colonel, just make sure you have a witness. And
that was the other guy. That wasn't Moriarty.
Was it the other guy?
That was later when they were on the trucks or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right. But
even so, I was like, seriously?
Mark Strong, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Every little random thing that happened, you knew it was going to come in handy later. Like in a video game when you're like, why do I have to pick up this flower? This seems dumb.
Oh,
and then it saves your life later.
100%
like,
this is a video game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like this is, I mean, it's not quite as much of a video game as whatever that like Hardcore Henry movie they made was, where it was all first person.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't see it, but there's some movie that came out like 2 or 3 years ago that was like an action movie shot in like first person, like from a dude's perspective. Like he just basically wore a GoPro. But no, this is 100% a video game. Like you're just following this dude through the levels.
Yeah.
As they get progressive. It's the kind of movie that Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was making fun of.
Oh my gosh. That's so, oh my gosh. Yep.
You're absolutely right. Everything matters, and like they pick everything up, and it's like, you know there's no way that Blake survives, right? Like even from the beginning, I'm like, this dude is gonna die somehow, and like Schofield is gonna have to be the one to carry it on, because like he's the one that's in the movie, right?
Yeah.
This freaking Gerard Way knockoff, the other guy, I was just like, yeah, when is he gonna leave? What is his deal? Not that I wanted him to leave. I was just like, I have seen the trailer for this movie, and he is not in most of it.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the trailer in such a long time that I don't really think I saw it coming the first time I watched it. So I was like, wait, he has to just do this entire, more than half of the movie by himself?
By himself, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he like spends all night in like a French town in a coast or whatever, just like hanging out with a woman and her child. After he gets knocked out by the sniper that was shooting at him, but the guy doesn't kill him. I still don't really understand what happened there. Maybe I looked down at the wrong time, but like...
Yeah, I want to say he was like, the German was just injured and so he couldn't run after him. I don't really know.
But he wakes up, and it's like the second visible cut in the entire movie, and he wakes up and is like, oh no, it's nighttime.
Now, I thought that was the prettiest part, was when he woke up and saw the town on fire, all the shadows and everything.
That was crazy.
That was the most gorgeous. I was like, are there fireworks going off? Why is there a party happening?
And there's like 8 random Germans wandering around. He has to fight them one at a time.
Yeah, totally cool, whatever.
And there's just this one random French woman in her basement with her child, and like nobody else is alive in the town. Like,
Yeah, totally fine. I did like that scene. I just liked seeing the personal connection.
Yeah.
Because besides your boy Blake, he didn't really have anything else. He was just kind of doing stuff by himself.
right. And we keep getting to him talking about like, I didn't want to go home because I hated coming back. And like, you never really got. Can you hear that?
No.
My God, it's like thundering like hell outside.
Oh my gosh.
I think either that or somebody's like jumping up and down on my roof.
I vote the second one.
Oh no, severe thunderstorm warning right now. So it must be just pouring rain. If I disappear, you know what happened.
Oh my gosh.
That my power went out, so that'd be fun. What was I? Oh man. Yeah, no, you never really found out the other end of like what he has at home or whatever. And like I definitely thought they were going to try to make some like play at that, like he has to get back.
Yeah, but he never did.
But he
never
just
has this secret tin thing and he's getting stuff out of it. I'm like, what are you doing? Dude, what's happening?
He never felt like he had motivation, but we never knew what it was.
Yeah. Like he's just doing it for his buddy that he barely knows. Okay.
But he completes the mission though. He gets to the end and he's like, I gotta find the dude's brother. I gotta find the dude's brother. I gotta find the dude's brother. I gotta tell him.
Yeah.
I gotta tell Rob Stark that his brother is dead.
Yeah, it's fine.
I didn't learn any of these people's names, so I just know them from other stuff.
Yeah, Nope. I knew Blake and Schofield.
Blake and Schofield.
It.
Yeah. Colonel Mackenzie. Mackenzie.
Yeah,
is Benedict
that
Cumberbatch's
one's
name.
important. Because he yells it 100 times. So I was like, oh, that
Everybody
name's
he comes
important
up to.
later.
Yeah.
Hey, where's he at? Bro, shut up.
And that was the laziest foreshadowing ever for them to be like, some men just want to fight. And then he goes up and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to listen to you, obviously. The dude's like, read the letter. It's from the general.
Yeah. I think my other favorite part of the movie was Wayfaring Stranger, just because I really liked that song.
Oh, I love that song. That was such a powerful scene for no reason.
Oh, yeah. It was so random, and I loved it.
And they're about to, like, march off to their imminent doom.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm looking for these guys. And they're like, oh, that's us. He's like, what?
What? I came upon this random British regiment out in the middle of the field?
That's just singing for no reason? Sure.
Just one person singing while they all sit there and listen.
Yeah, I was like, that would totally be me. That would be my job. Like, you don't fight, you get to sing all the time.
That would be, you're Ed Sheeran from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's it.
You have that one episode cameo where you sing a song and then terrorize Maisie Williams.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Wayfaring Stranger is such a good song, such an underrated track for them to stick in the middle of, because it's an ominous, like, again, creepy kind of song, right? It's in this deeply minor key and like.
Yeah, and they changed some of the notes and made it chromatic. I was like, whoa, what are you doing?
Well, because again, this is just like, it's the horror movie that never horrored, right? Like it didn't quite get, they definitely manufactured the suspense
the whole time. And I sound like I'm complaining a lot. I really did like this movie. It's just a little bit corny. Yeah, corny. It kind of just bits and pieces of randomness everywhere.
Yes.
But I would play this video game. That would be
absolutely dope. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I did play this video game. It was called like Call of Duty Medal of Honor. You know, the original Call of Duty games were basically this.
Perfect. I just need to go get some of those. Whatever.
Back in the early aughts, on the PlayStation 2 and stuff.
Yes.
When I was but a child.
PS2, my whole life. Yeah, I was like 8 playing those games.
Yeah, I was young, and they were just like, "Here, go, ransack this French village in World War II." I'm like, "Cool,
it's totally fine."
And then they were like, "Haha, modern warfare," and then it never looked back ever.
Oh no.
They were like, let's do one that sort of takes place in Vietnam. Nope. Okay, never mind. Cool. Yeah, so I wouldn't say this is my favorite war movie ever, even among the like modern ones, but it definitely is cool. It definitely was a good time. It's no Saving Private Ryan. It's no Platoon. Platoon? No, Full Metal Jacket. That's what I'm thinking of. Maybe? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I
think this is a piece of art.
Yes.
I think that's the thing.
Yes.
It's art. It doesn't feel as much like a movie.
No, especially not your traditional war movie, right? Because there's sort of a formula for that one, even when Steven Spielberg's making it. And this just doesn't follow that format at all. They definitely were like, hey, we need an avant-garde movie about this random thing that happened in 1917.
Hey, no one's heard this story. Let's make a movie about it.
Well, and I guess at the end, it's like, this is for Lance Corporal John Mendez or whatever. So this is Sam Mendez's dad or granddad that was obviously granddad, I guess, was like, hey, this is this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
You should make this into a movie because this was crazy.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a really cool story to hear. And this movie is a cool piece of art, but I don't know if I like it as a movie.
Right, there's a little bit of a disconnect there.
Yeah, I'd rather either have someone tell me the story or it be a painting. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a painting, interesting. Yeah, I could see that. Like how, but it crosses such a broad scope of textures and terrains and emotions, and he goes down a waterfall and somehow still ends up in the right place.
That I still can't tell you.
This is a really bad day. Just go
down the river. Just go down the river and you'll be fine. Okay, French lady I just met.
Yeah, and also by go down the river, I don't think she meant fully jump in or get thrown in by a German.
Yeah.
And then
that's the part I did definitely look down and went, wait, he's in the water? What just happened?
Yeah, there was right there in the middle. It got a little bit because they're not constantly narrating it anymore, right? I could follow it when it was Blake and Schofield telling each other everything. Oh, we're at the front line. Look at that. That's a German soldier. Oh, when he sticks his hand into the body.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to die. I was oh no. Germaphobe 101, that's me. Get that out of here.
Not a big rat fan. Not a big and when he comes up against the mountain of dead bodies at the end of the river, there's a little graphic for no reason.
Yeah, that was a lot.
This movie didn't need to be gory. It added almost nothing to it.
Yeah, you could see the bodies in the trenches and stuff. I get all that, the fields, whatever, but the river thing?
Well, and and sticking his hand into it, because it's not like he dies of a hand injury. That's what they set up and didn't follow through on, is that he gets, he should die of hand rot or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he sticks his hand on the barbed wire and then immediately puts it inside of a corpse.
Yeah, that felt like foreshadowing that they were nah, just kidding.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That and the thing with the artillery, where everything was blown up and they destroyed their own guns. It's what again? Where are we going with this? And then just on the other side is these beautiful, pristine fields.
Yeah, whatever. The cherry trees, it's fine. We'll see that later too.
Right, they built mines. We never come back to that one. There's a mine in the middle of the trench. What?
Yeah, the milk's important later. That's fine, I guess.
There's milk?
Yeah, he gets the milk from the farm, from the cow, and then gives it to the baby.
Oh, yeah.
The French lady.
Yeah.
I was entirely. You could have filled up your canteen with water, but instead you were nah, there's milk here. Let's do that. Okay.
Total nod to Inglourious Bastards with the first 15 minutes taking place on a milk farm.
Oh my gosh.
Sam Mendes is this is a real French thing, right?
Oh my god.
They really just want to drive that French pastoral living thing home.
Yeah. Okay.
Could have lived without the dog corpse.
Oh, that hurt.
Yeah. But again, like, they go in the house and nothing bad happens.
I know, that drove me insane. I was like, no, someone's gonna jump out. Like,
Right.
there's gonna be a jump scare. Would have been a great opportunity, too.
And he even goes like, oh, I don't like this. Like, this is not good.
I know. I was like, what? Foreshadowing for nothing.
Man, it really sounds like we hated this movie.
It kind of does.
Did we not like this movie?
I gave it a 75.
75 is a pretty good score, though.
It's still decent, yeah, because it is a work of art, but it's
and that's
so
what it comes back to.
random.
That's what it comes back to is like the fact that for me, it comes straight down to like they managed to make the uniforms and the helmets different colors. That's all that matters, right? Like as far as the bar is on the floor.
Yeah.
And most movies still bring shovels, right? Like the bar for what I want to see out of a cinematic color grade is on the ground. It could not be lower at this point. Like stop making everything teal and orange. Stop it. And they were like these soldiers' uniforms are 3 whole colors, and I'm like, beautiful. Give me more.
Perfect.
I want to see more.
That's it. That's at least
Schofield has beautiful blue eyes for no reason.
Yeah. That's at least 80 points. The other 3 are just whatever.
Exactly. I was sad when Blake died. That did get me, for sure.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot to handle. I was like, and then these random dudes show up, and I'm going, no, don't tell him to get up. Let him sit there for a minute. Chill out.
I feel like a significant amount of time passed.
But it was like 2 minutes.
I don't think it was, though. Like, because they were pretty set up digging this tree out or whatever. Like, all of a sudden there were people everywhere, and they had, like, marched in. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, because it did shoot, like, the house, and all the guys were standing next to it.
Yeah.
I guess.
So that's what I'm thinking that, like, a decent amount of time passed.
It's just weird because if it's all one shot and it's all pretty chronological, how did they do that? How did that happen?
I think that's just some movie magic. Like they're not showing you, we don't sit with him for however long he sat there, but I get the feeling he sat there for a fair few minutes while these people marched, because they were like, oh yeah, we saw the plane go down. And like, if they had been marching in and were that close, they would have like watched the plane go down.
Yeah.
80 feet away from them.
Fair. They might have heard them or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fine, I guess. I don't.
And Blake doesn't even remember what killed him. And he's like, oh, I'm hit. What happened? Am I dying? The guy goes, yeah.
No.
You gotta find my brother. He's the one that looks like me, which he doesn't at all. Doesn't look anything like you.
But he hears his voice and goes, I think that's him. Like, what? What? Of all these hundreds, thousands of men, are you serious?
Yeah, that's him. I mean, he just knows, right? They're connected.
Oh my gosh. I'm done. I'm sick of this.
And he never needed his medal. I'll tell you that much. That was the one thing, the one piece of foreshadowing that didn't.
That's
is
fine.
that freaking whatever medal he got never came back to him.
Yeah, literally. Who cares?
Because Blake was so upset that Schofield got rid of his medal, swapped it to a French officer for a bottle of wine.
Like, okay.
It's like, hey, what does it matter, my dude?
Because he's like, well, why wouldn't you take it home? Well, I don't know.
Well, and you would think that even at the end that Schofield would have been like, your brother was brave. I'm going to make sure he gets his medals, gets his commendations. Like, he saved my life, everything. He doesn't say any of that because Blake is very much like, I would want the medal. I'd want him to give it home to my family. Like,
yeah. Or what would have been a really cool, like really solid ending is just Schofield actually having the medal and being like, "Oh, your brother earned this." That would have been a way better.
That would have been a way better ending.
Yeah.
It's almost like they forgot to write this
movie.
movie. It's like it feels like they forgot to write this movie to some extent. Like they just let Roger Deakins, the cinematographer, do the whole thing, and then we're like, we should make them say stuff every now and then, maybe.
But at the same time, that probably didn't actually happen, but like, I mean, it'd make a better movie.
I don't care if it actually happened or not. There's too much. This is why I like, Quentin Tarantino and like Inglourious Bastards. It's like, it doesn't, who cares if it happened like that, right? Like, obviously Hitler didn't actually die in a movie theater in 1943 or whatever. Like,
yeah,
obviously that didn't happen. But like, yeah, it doesn't matter if it actually happened or not. All of the events in Saving Private Ryan are fiction. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Absolute complete fiction. There was nothing like that. I mean, D-Day happened, but like...
Well, I think since they were trying to write it as the story that was told, it makes sense that they wouldn't try and change too much. But it's like, we don't know what's actually been changed and what's the same. What's been dramatized for theaters anyways.
Right.
Like, who knows?
I don't know your granddad, Sam Mendes. I wasn't there to ask. Be like, excuse me, Lance Corporal Mendez, is this true? Is all this true?
Sir, please, we must know.
The people need to know. Did you actually survive the river?
Oh my gosh. He's sitting right there going, seriously?
I mean, yeah, I just don't, yeah. Some of these things are so unbelievable that, like, they'd have never made it out of that bunker, for starters, ever.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Over the mine shaft while one of the dudes can't see.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And they had a bomb go off, like, 2 feet away from them, and both of them have perfectly fine hearing afterward.
Oh, yeah, that made me mad. I was like, nope, we're not here for that. He has worse hearing when all the stuff's going off when he's in the trenches trying to find Mackenzie.
Yeah.
It's all ringing, tinnitus and whatnot, and I'm just like, well, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen.
Honestly, I think they did the tinnitus in that, the ringing sounds in that part to just, like, drive home the, like, tunnel vision type nature of it. Like, all he cares about is trying to find Mackenzie. He's got to get the thing to stop. It's like, the war is literally going on around him and he doesn't care.
Yeah, he's just running through all these people, whatever.
To be fair, he's had the worst day ever. Like, one of the worst days ever.
This shouldn't be called 1917. This should be called Guy Has Worst Day Ever.
The problem is there's so many other war movies that are named stuff like that. Like, to that you got, like, The Longest Day and, like...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there are other movies with numbers, though, because I was trying to find 1917, and a lot of other movies with numbers showed up. And I was like, no,
are there a lot of them?
Yeah, there's a ton of movies with just numbers, and I'm going, I don't need this.
2001, 1408, 10,000 BC.
Like, whatever, it's fine.
They could have called it Wonder Woman.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, the one woman in the movie. Yep.
yeah, just one. take the dir off. Just one woman.
One woman.
This movie definitely does not pass the Bechdel test.
Oh my gosh. There are like 2 guys of another race and then one woman, and that is it.
I mean... To be fair,
it makes sense.
Right. Not that I want to be like,
oh. At the same time.
There's a time and a place where the accuracy matters, and there's a time and a place where it super doesn't. Lord of the Rings, super doesn't. This would be crazy if, like, half the people were black and women.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that...
Like, you're making some crazy commentary about World War I at this point, and that's fine. But, like...
Yeah. That'd be a wild movie. Oh my gosh. If someone made a World War I movie with a bunch of women in it.
Yeah, and they just nobody talked about it, and it was just like,
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Actors of all races and genders fighting in these trenches, and just like nobody talks about it.
They're like, whatever, it's fine.
They salute everybody, and it's just, sir, yes, absolutely, no questions asked.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am, yes.
See, I don't even think you would do that. I think you would still because that would
be exactly the same, but
that would be bringing attention to it, right? Like that's the thing is it would have to be this crazy movie where like nobody talks about it, right? Like we just don't even pretend. I want to make this movie now.
I was just watching you guys' Cinderella episode, and you guys were talking about that, like how no one talked about the race and the different... So it's like, well, in that one, it doesn't really make sense, but in a World War I movie where that's the joke, that would be great.
Right. And, like, again, on one hand with Cinderella, it's like, yes, I get what they were going for. We're like, hey, they want to be colorblind and whatever.
Yeah.
And that was progressive for the 90s. It's not really progressive anymore, and that's fine. But definitely, like, he could have just been like, yeah, she's black, right? Like, we can eliminate
one line.
We can eliminate a lot of people that we don't have to put this shoe on just by doing that. Right? Like, I'm a little bit more observant than that.
It's fine. I feel like that would have happened in real life, though. If that were actually a thing, he would have been like, I don't know, just some girl showed up. She got a shoe. Trying to find her, I guess.
What does she look like? Well, she's not any of these white women. I can tell you that much.
What does she look like? I don't... Yep.
But I mean, it's love at first sight. You'd absolutely remember her.
Maybe not. Maybe he's just got a terrible memory. Maybe that's his fatal flaw.
That when somebody's like, oh, what does this person look like? Your brain is just kind of like, I don't know, like 2 eyes and a mouth, probably. Average number of limbs, hair, potentially, probably.
Maybe.
I can recognize faces. Always. I cannot describe faces. I can't be like, yes, let me just, sketch you out a police sketch real quick of what this person looks like. Oh my gosh.
I'm always afraid if, I need to do a police sketch, I am always afraid that I'm not going to be able to do it and they're not going to find the person. I'm so scared.
Well, so I think in that case, you have, somebody whose job it is to make those composite sketches and,
right.
They know the questions to ask to get you to say the right... Not the right thing, but to answer
to be able
the way your
to
brain
write
knows
it.
And your mouth may not,
I don't know. That's always been an irrational fear of mine. It's like, oh, what did this person look like?
2 eyes and a mouth.
What color were the eyes, bro?
Light, not dark.
Yeah,
probably.
Yep, they had all their teeth, probably. Maybe missing some wisdom teeth, though. I mean, they could have had that done.
That would be wild. Hair color, brown. Eyes, green. Wisdom teeth? Yes, probably.
I don't know.
Speaking of finding people, the one thing that did drive me crazy about this movie is that the having to find Colonel Mackenzie on the front line thing happened at least one too many times, where he goes up to an officer and is like, "I need to stop the fight. Where's Colonel Mackenzie? Up there." Gets around 2 more corners. It says the same thing. It's like I get they had to make him go up and over and run across the battlefield, right? But one too many. Your comedic timing on that one was off, right? Like you made the joke one too many times.
Was it even comedic though?
No, but it. A lot
just
of things.
The whole thing
those...
was seriously
right.
When he was telling the story, do you think he was like, I had to literally ask 1 million people where this guy was, and no one would give me a straight answer, so I just had to keep going?
Well, to be fair, when they walk in the trench at the beginning, they're like, everything's all hunky-dory, and there's a bunch of people back there. And then they walk around 11 corners, and everybody's like, this is the worst thing ever. This is literally hell. Where's everybody? And it's like, they're back there, like 800 feet. Just call them. Just yell real loud. They'll come. It's fine.
Yeah, right there. It's okay.
I don't know how the trenches worked, but...
And they're all super serious. It's like they're right there. It's fine. It'll be okay, you guys.
Right. I definitely think the things were... Some things were... The distance between things, I think, in this movie is both time and space related, were both compressed in some places and lengthened in some places.
Yeah, which makes it even more confusing because it is one shot. So it all feels like it's exactly where it's supposed to be.
Like a 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah. So it's
except for the part where he gets knocked out and it's nighttime, and then 30 minutes later it's daytime, like broad daylight.
It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, that was all of a sudden it was morning, and I was like, oh wait, when did that happen? B, that's not good.
Nope.
Morning is not what we want.
No, that ain't it, Chief.
Yeah, I had to keep that like the end goal in the back of my mind.
Yeah. And that the fact that he got there right after the first wave went, I was like, it's a little late, my guy.
Right, like as the first wave is going over.
It's fine.
To be fair, he's running through there going, I have orders from the general, stop this. And everybody's like, nope, not going to do that.
Who are you, strange man? No.
Yeah. Who are you, guy carrying orders from the general?
I don't know, someone maybe a little important?
I don't know. Everyone attack, retreat.
Yeah, I don't.
I never fought in a trench war. We don't do that anymore. For good reason.
Yeah.
That sounded awful. I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think they did that in the Civil War too, maybe?
I mean, I'm assuming that's the only way they got cover.
Right. Well, like they didn't have cover in like the Revolutionary War. They just marched in a big straight line and shot each other, I think.
Yeah. Super effective.
Seems
really
like.
Just...
But like guns were real bad back then. I mean, guns are still bad, but they were a different kind of bad.
Yeah.
How's Texas?
Fine. It's totally fine. Yeah, for someone who's like pretty pacifist, doesn't really like war, I love war movies, so it's super weird.
Yeah, I was just raised on these. Like, I have seen so many freaking war movies. Like,
I was not. Was raised on like 80s movies.
I was not at all. Like, that was a big... I mean, I've seen a bunch of 80s movies, but that was a big gap for my folks.
Back to the Future was like the thing.
I don't honestly know that either of my parents ever saw Back to the Future.
Oh my gosh.
They were older, though. Like...
I mean, but still, like...
I mean, fair.
Finding someone who hasn't seen Back to the Future is a feat.
I know that we never watched it when I was young. Like, I saw them, but, like, because I searched them out.
Yeah.
Or saw the first one, at least. And, like, I can remember watching parts of the... My mom watched parts of the second or the first one maybe a couple times. I'm sure that my dad never saw it. I don't know. I can't ask him now, but, like... Yeah, that just wasn't a big... My mom loved the John Hughes movies, the Ferris Bueller... You know, all those.
Yes, those are great. Ferris Bueller is fire.
But for the most part, yeah, the 80s just didn't happen in my house. Like, 80s music did not exist for me until I started, like, learning to play guitar and got into all those, like, hair metal bands.
Of course, yeah.
You know, I was a teenage boy in the 2000s. That's all I listened to was, like, the Scorpions and Ozzy Osbourne and crap like that.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, Randy Rhoads, greatest guitar player that's ever lived. Like, shut up, man. go away.
Young guitar players.
Went through a big Eddie Van Halen phase, you know, as we all do.
Everyone. Every single person.
Yeah, I got to see him live at one point. That was a very cool experience.
Oh my gosh. I got to see Rush do their R40 concert.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
That was one of the most amazing shows I have ever been to. And I hadn't really listened to Rush, especially at that time. I was in high school. It was like 6 or 7 years ago. My dad was like, they're probably not going to do another tour. Let's go see him. I'm like, all right, you like him so much. And they actually did 2112.
That's crazy.
And that's the only song I knew.
That's crazy.
My dad was like, they're not going to do 2112. It's too popular. And they did. It was amazing.
Yeah, I don't think I've listened to Rush since high school, actually. Like, that was...
It's so... oh, my gosh.
R.I.P. Neil Peart, man. That one still gets me.
Yeah, that
would be cool. I would have loved to have seen Rush. I saw the Rolling Stones one time. That was very cool. That was recent. That was like 2 years ago.
What the heck?
Yeah, it was
That's
incredible.
amazing.
It was incredible. That's not the 80s, though. That was very much the 60s. That's what my dad was into.
That's a different thing.
Yeah, I was very much raised to like the Beatles, and he got upset with me when I didn't like the Beatles as much as him.
Well,
It be like that sometimes, don't it?
it's fine, whatever. I like the really popular songs. There's
See, I
just
don't.
so many. There's like 3 million.
There's a lot of them, yeah. Early Beatles was not my thing. The like super poppy, like Can't Buy Me Love type stuff was not my my cup of tea.
I just knew the stuff from like Choir or this is so unfortunate, but I only know Here Comes the Sun from the Bee Movie, and that's so sad.
What a statement. Not even like The Parent Trap.
It was in The Parent Trap? Seriously? Oh, shoot.
I'm pretty sure that's in there.
I haven't seen that movie in so long. I'm in love with it, but I only watch it every so often, so I don't hate it.
That's fair.
I didn't realize that.
I would have sworn that Here Comes the Sun is in that movie.
Well, I know LOVE is in that movie.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah, incredible. But yeah, Here Comes the Sun in the Bee Movie. It's fine.
I have never actually seen Bee Movie. Fun fact.
I have seen it so many times because my brother, when he was younger, got into a phase where he would watch the same movie over and over again. So it was like Cars, the Bee Movie, Paul Blart Mall Cop, all the Star Wars.
Yeah. See, I did that, but when I was young, and I didn't have siblings, so I didn't have younger siblings that watched like a bunch of their movies. So like the Bee Movie, by the time I was done watching the same movie every day, the Bee Movie was not out.
Yeah, no, because it's better that way.
I mean, technically I've seen the Bee Movie a lot because I've watched a bunch of those, like the Bee Movie, but every time they say Bee, it gets faster.
Oh my gosh, those
videos.
are so good.
So like I've seen all of the Bee Movie lots of times, but never at the right speed or in any comprehensible fashion.
One of my friends had a printer and they just printed all of the Bee Movie and it went all the way down their dorm hallway. And I'm like, well, that's fine.
Yeah, I was not in college for the Bee Movie meme. That sounds like a terrible time to be in college.
It's awful. Like, it was fine watching it, and then later when everyone's like, this is actually terrible, I'm like, I was too naive to really think about that. It's fine.
I mean, like, so she falls in love with the bee, right? Like, she's a human, basically.
Yeah.
And she, like, leaves her husband for this bee. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I really, as a kid, I was like, that's really cool, though, because, like, nature and the environment and save the bees. And I really thought that was the only thing happening. I didn't really make the connection that, oh, yeah, she's definitely in love with a bee.
She's
That's
like, I'm helping him sue the government. And Patrick Warburton's like, what are you talking about? He's a bee. And she's like, yeah, he's a bee, but I love him, and I don't love you anymore.
It's totally fine.
It's not fun. So I've never, maybe one day we'll cover it on Bacon and Eggs, although shockingly very few people have ever asked us for that.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny. I think it'd be like watching Shrek, like reviewing Shrek.
We did that.
And I think that's incredible. I feel like it's the same thing.
It sure is. Let me tell you what hasn't held up is Shrek.
Oh my gosh. It's so...
I would advise, honestly, if you have good memories of Shrek, I would advise never watching Shrek again.
I've seen parts of it in my adulthood and went, how is that acceptable?
Because it was like, I mean, it was the movie when I was a kid. Like, I'm a little bit older than you. And like when I was a child, Shrek was it. Like,
it was still the thing. Like,
yeah.
I was in love with it as a kid. One of my friends, she would play, so we were, marching band. We were in the back of the bus going home from band concerts or marching band, whatever.
Yeah.
And she would always play the Shrek version of I Need a Hero. And that is, to this day,
Hell yeah.
the best rendition of that song.
That's not a tough one though. Like,
Oh my
no,
god.
the Shrek soundtracks absolutely slapped. Like they very much went in on those songs.
If you ever need motivation for anything, just play that song and you'll want to run a marathon. It's fine.
They all of them had no business having soundtracks like that. It's like the Twilight movies. Like, what were they doing?
How is it that I've seen that movie not that many times and I know all the words to All Star? That's not okay.
Oh, I've seen Shrek so many times. But again, I've seen Shrek Shrek, but it's just the words to All Star and like
Yeah.
Shrek, but every time somebody says Shrek, it gets faster, and
Oh my gosh.
Shrek, but it's 10 copies of Shrek layered on top of each other.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I could still sing the little song that the welcome sign to Duloc sings.
That was the part that really got me as an adult. I was like, how was that okay?
Shine your shoes, wipe your face.
Oh my gosh. It's like they really narrowly missed that one, huh?
I mean, as an 8-year-old, even, I think I was like, that's really funny.
Oh my God.
Because I get this.
I didn't. I was like,
It's not like Pixar where they hide the jokes. It's just Shrek was very much like balls to the wall about it.
Or like Madagascar where they're like, oh, sugar, honey, iced tea. I was like, wait.
I've never seen any of those movies. Not a
What?
once. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Madagascar 3, I saw in a theater opening. Like, it was a brand new theater. I was the first person to sit in that chair.
Nice.
That kind of opening. And I saw Madagascar 3 in 3D. And so they've got like these neon lights and they're in a circus. It was the coolest thing. And of course, Firework by Katy Perry's playing. And I'm like, this is great. This is just fantastic.
I was going to ask you when that happened, but then you said Firework by Katy Perry, and they gave me enough information.
Yeah, that was enough.
Oh, man. No, I've never seen any of those movies.
Oh my
I know people love them, but I just did not.
Those are so good. I think they hold up. I really do.
I believe it. People still love them, and they just keep making them. Like,
Yeah.
they got the
Like the
Penguin
Ice
spinoff,
Ages.
and yeah,
They keep
those
making
I never
those.
liked those.
Oh,
That was my childhood, though, and that was very much one of the ones where I was like, this is. I see what they're going for here, but this is not as good as Finding Nemo. Like, it's just not.
okay. All right.
I loved Finding Nemo. That's the kind of kid I was.
Ice Age was just Manny, so great. Freaking mammoth, man. I don't know.
That's the
And
Ray
they're like-
Romano one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to like glaze over the voice actors. And then Patrick Warburton shows up and you're like, I can't do it.
I love Patrick Warburton. He's the best part of anything he's in.
So funny. Oh my gosh. His voice doesn't have to be a meme, but it is.
It's just because he plays such different characters in like animated movies versus real life.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I knew him from like Seinfeld and stuff as like the asshole boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then he's Kronk, right? And I'm just like, this is such a different person. This is a different character.
Oh my gosh. The variety.
The man's got range.
Yeah.
Or maybe not range. He's got like a Jekyll and Hyde thing kind of going on.
Yeah, it's not range, it's just two different things.
Yeah, it's very good at playing a complete jerk and a lovable idiot.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's all you need him for.
And, full send every voice part that he does, for sure.
Oh my gosh. Dreams. Goals. I would love to be a voice actor.
Oh, same. That would be so cool. And those early DreamWorks movies are very much like, we got Ray Romano and
I know.
whoever plays Sid and, these are actors from the hit sitcoms to be in our, and Pixar was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
This is Tom Hanks, I guess. We're not gonna really talk about it. It's fine.
Tom Hanks, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, And
That's
none of the rest
so
of the movies,
true, though.
none of the rest of the movies really have anybody else. There's like one person, like Ellen DeGeneres. It's fine. She's like a talk show. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
The fish is played by Albert Brooks. Nobody knows who that is. That's fine.
Yeah.
We got
It's
the dude from
like
Spider-Man. That's kind of cool, I guess. To play
Pixar
Angry
didn't
Fish.
even need to name drop. It's whatever.
Right, and DreamWorks is like, this is the movie epic. We got Pitbull to be a voice actor.
Yes. Or Trolls. Was that Pixar or was that DreamWorks?
Trolls is DreamWorks, I think.
I think so. And that was Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake.
Oh yeah, everybody was somebody.
Everybody.
Freaking Ugly Dolls.
Oh my god.
I did not see that movie. That was the one that was like, we got Blake Shelton to be a doll.
Great.
No one
Good.
cares.
No.
Never have I thought, you know what a movie needs? Blake Shelton voice acting.
You're not wrong.
Although that might be an unpopular opinion in Texas.
I wouldn't think so. I don't know. I don't think country singers should really voice act. That doesn't seem like a thing.
Yeah, they're always very noticeable.
Yeah, and
Although I also don't think they
it's
should have
not
gotten
just-
Taylor Swift to play a cat, but whatever.
Whatever. Taylor Swift's gonna do her thing and no one can stop her.
Well, somebody should have stopped that whole movie from existing.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yep.
Just-
James Corden,
Just let Ian McKellen do that thing, and
Just him. Just the parts that he's in. That
definitely
is it.
not Jason Derulo.
Oh my gosh.
I haven't actually seen it. I've seen like 5 minutes of it, but it was unbearable.
I haven't seen it either. I have no interest in seeing it. No.
Again, never once was I like, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats. What is that missing? Jason Derulo, the auto-tune guy.
I don't think about cats ever.
I don't either, but never once have I have fan cast any musical in my head and thought this needs more Jason Derulo.
No.
I all think they need more Ian McKellen.
Man's just doing his thing.
He's just doing whatever he wants. He was Gandalf and Magneto in the same year. Like, he's good. He's chilling.
He's fine.
He's
let him do
been,
his
you know,
thing.
he's been 100 years old for the past 40 years. He's good. He's chilling.
Oh my
He's looked at the
God.
oldest dude on Earth for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this movie more, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I really thought I did. Again, it's so pretty. It's so nice to watch.
The more you think about it, you're like, did I?
The more I think about it, though, but at the same time, like the whole time I was watching it, I was just like, wow, they really did the thing. They really went for it. They nailed this. But then I'm sitting here thinking about it now. I'm like, it had no story.
No.
Whatsoever.
The first hour just did not keep my attention. The second hour is where more of the action happened. Wayfaring stranger, the French lady, like all of that stuff happened. The waterfall, him fighting all the random guys, and that's what kept my attention. The first hour was just them bickering over nothing and going through trenches and looking at dead people, and I'm like, nah. That's
See,
fine.
I honestly liked the before Blake died part better, I think. I really did. I don't know why. I just could have as much as I was complaining about them bickering, I could have just watched that all day, right? Like,
Yeah.
two
He
guys just
kind
go
of
through a
annoyed
walk
me.
through France during the war.
That's fine.
That would have been a much more avant-garde movie, though, if they were like, yeah, so nothing bad happens to these guys the whole time, except for the bomb and the thing. After that, they just take a pretty walk through France. They fall in a river.
Talk about cherries sometimes.
They talk about cherries sometimes.
That's
that
it.
never comes back either.
It does when he's in the river, the cherry blossoms.
Was it?
Yeah.
Man, I did not pay enough attention to this movie, apparently.
No, I think it was just I've seen it twice, and so I was
Fair.
looking for stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I was like, oh, that's gonna come back probably, and then it did when he's in the river and he's hanging onto the log, drowning
Gotcha.
himself. He's like, oh, cherry blossoms, that's cool. I'm like,
Something
is
to
that
live
a
for.
premonition? Is he back from the dead? What is happening?
I don't know. I did not catch that. Because it's like, the reason we keep talking about foreshadowing, listeners who haven't seen this, because I know there's a bunch of you who haven't watched this movie and are now listening to us talk about this movie. The reason we're talking so much about foreshadowing is because like it's very heavy and like
obvious,
very heavy and obvious in a video game kind of way where you're like, why did you, like you said earlier, why did you just give me a flower in the middle of a field of death? Like, what is going to happen later?
Yep. Why did that thing just get highlighted by the game? That doesn't make sense.
Oh, it just auto-saved. That's not good, right?
Yeah.
That's bad.
Oh my gosh.
That's bad.
Oh, we're gonna fight a monster in a minute.
At the top corner, it just auto-saved. I'm gonna die. Cool. Got it.
It's totally fine.
It's like J.K. Rowling level foreshadowing where they're like,
oh my gosh.
but it doesn't come back half the time.
That's what's weird about it. It's like this super random thing is really important. No.
Maybe we're waiting for the sixth, for 1921 or 1922 or whatever, when he has to pull the cherry blossom tree out of a vanishing cabinet in the room of requirement.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't watch that.
You wouldn't watch 5 sequels to this movie?
No. No. I'd put it on in the background and hope it's over soon. No. Oh my gosh.
He gets home from the war and buys a house out in the country and gets this, huge wardrobe and then walks through it and suddenly he's king of Narnia. It's great.
What? No.
That's my way to tie this to the greater cinematic universe.
Oh my gosh. He only buys the house because it has a cherry tree, and the wife is like,
it's got a cherry tree in the front yard.
This is the worst house ever. Like, it's falling apart. Everything is wrong with it, and he's like, we have to buy it. I've already bought it, my dear one. Like, it's already done.
I'm gonna chill out here in case there's another war ever.
Oh my gosh. Literally, no. Now all I can think about is how this movie is connected to Narnia. That's it.
There's weird Narnia vibes about this one for some reason that I cannot explain.
Honestly, I don't know. We're currently doing Narnia, so I'm like, yep.
Are the sequels any good? I've never seen either of them.
What?
Yeah.
That was loud. Sorry, microphone.
You're good.
No, I adore Prince Caspian, the movie and the person. Fair. Obviously, because everyone's obsessed with Ben Barnes. Whatever, that's fine. It's not like I liked him before he was cool, because I'm a hipster. Whatever.
I don't know who Ben Barnes is.
He's the guy everyone's obsessing over in Shadow and Bone on Netflix right now.
Ah. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
Oh, well,
I know that people in Discord watch it.
Yes.
But that's the only place I've seen anything about it.
That's pretty much
Except for the TikTok hashtag.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only 2 places. And Ben Barnes is a thing. Yeah, I love the sequels, honestly. I would watch them all together if you haven't seen Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe in a long time. But
we covered it in like November?
Yeah, so you could probably watch the other 2.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite movie in the world. I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
Well, and that's okay. It's not very old, but it feels like it. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's got weird vibes.
Yeah, the vibes are strange.
Yeah. But it gets more modern. The one thing with Prince Caspian that I know Carrie didn't like is it switched storylines a lot. It didn't just follow one arc. It went all over the place, but you could still kind of tell what was going on. And then Dawn Treader is the most recent one, and that one's more like Pirates of the Caribbean vibes.
Okay.
Yeah. Pirates
and then they just stopped making them, right?
Yep. And I've heard that they're making a Netflix series, so...
I mean, everything's getting a series now.
Everything, yeah. Whatever. I really like the original actors, though, so it hurts my soul a little bit. It's fine.
I do not like movies that are about kids that young, usually.
Well, That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what the book's about.
I mean, I've read the books.
Yeah, I think it just follows it really well. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not like, by all means, love it if you love it. So like, I just, when you talk about like loving the original actors, like,
Yeah.
I guess Peter was cool.
Yeah, it is weird.
The little ones, I'm just kind of like, yeah, you're just kids. Like,
Yeah.
I know this is an unpopular opinion. People love movies about kids. I'm not one of those persons.
I don't know. I think most of my love for that movie has to do with nostalgia. Like
Fair.
99% of it. And the rest
Fair.
is just, no, I'm going to stick to that.
I think when it came out, I was just like maybe a little bit too old for it, to the point where I was like, I have better things to do than like be into Narnia anymore. Like,
Yeah, I was like 5, so
when the first one came out,
I think so.
I thought it was more recent than that. Man, hang on. Let me clarify this then.
It must have, I thought it was 2005. I could be wrong. It could have been a little later.
It was 2005, so I was 12. Yeah.
Yep, I was 5.
You were 5 in 2005?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good Lord.
I'm a 99 kiddo.
I cannot, because I know you just finished college. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that I'm old. That like I graduated college 6 years ago this month. 6 years ago this weekend, actually.
I feel like that feels long, but to me, that doesn't sound like a long time.
I mean, it's 1.5 times as long as I was in college.
I mean, fair. I mean, I was in high school 6 years ago, so... Yeah.
I was in high school 10 years ago. I finished high school.
That sounds long.
Yeah, this year was supposed to be my 10th high school reunion.
Oh
10-year
my
reunion.
gosh. Do people actually go to those?
I think so.
I know my parents definitely were like, never in a million years.
My mom went to all of hers, I think.
That's nice. I mean,
I don't
my
know.
parents were high school sweethearts, loved all their friends, so I don't know why they wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that I think millennials go. So I will definitely go because that's like part of my generation or whatever. Like I was intending to go. Ours got moved to next year, so it'll be an 11-year reunion.
Whatever.
We're the class of 11. It's fine.
It works.
But yeah, I was six years ago this weekend. I graduated college. That's wild.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. That was the last time I properly shaved my face either.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the last time I didn't have a beard was my graduation day.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Specifically for that day?
Well, so I was working for the catering company at the college that I went to.
Oh,
and I wasn't allowed to have a beard that whole year.
Yeah.
So I shaved pretty much every day.
Unless you wanted to wear one of those cool, like, beard
Wasn't even an option.
things.
Wasn't an option.
Oh, that's lame. I think those
Although
are
I would have just shaved.
Too much work. Whatever.
Too much work, yeah. And so that day I was just like, yeah, I can't work here anymore, so I'm just going to stop shaving.
Nice.
I've obviously trimmed it since then, though not recently.
Like. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that was the last time I didn't have a beard. Was May 9th, 2015.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I was 12 when the Chronicles of Narnia: The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe came out. So yeah, I was like, at that point, I was like, yo, I would rather play Halo 2 with my friends than be into Narnia.
I think I was at the perfect age because
Yeah.
then Prince Caspian came out when I was around 8 or 9. And so that's like, I was given that DVD as a gift and I loved it. It was like my most prized possession. It was amazing. And then the next one came out and I think I was a teenager by then. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's another one. Ah.
Yeah, Prince Caspian was 2008. So I would have been a sophomore in high school.
Yeah. I feel like if I were a sophomore in high school, I'd be like, these look dumb.
Yeah. It's like I was, and by that point I had already like grown up with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Is like I saw those one by one in theaters, so like that was definitely part of the thing where I was like, this is not Lord of the Rings though.
Yeah, I didn't grow up on those, so I feel like it's one or the other. You grow up Tolkien or Lewis.
I think a lot of people grow up Lewis and then end up at Tolkien.
Yeah, because that feels more adult.
Yeah, I have heard that some of the books especially are like aggressively juvenile.
Yeah.
Tyler read all of them early this year and sort of had some mixed reviews on a couple of them. Mm-hmm. Lewis was an interesting character for sure. He definitely had some strong opinions about a lot of things.
Everything, yeah.
Especially like the Christianity.
Oh yeah.
So I've read some of his other books, which are always wild.
My gosh, Screw Tape Letters is a trip.
It was crazy. What a great one.
Oh my gosh.
Like, but I could live without ever like try to revisit Paralandra or any of those like, this is modern divinity kind of texts.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, guy, how about you just stick to the talking beavers and stuff?
Yeah. My parents got to see Screw Tape Letters performed by one guy. Just like a monologue.
Probably awesome.
And I was so angry. Like, I was actually angry that they didn't take me. And they're like, well, we just got the tickets from a friend. I'm like, no. I love this man. You don't understand.
You gotta bring me. You gotta bring me, Mom and Dad.
I have to. That would have been so amazing. I can't even imagine memorizing all of those lines for like 2 hours straight.
Yeah, I never really did theater, but...
Me either.
That's got to be crazy. Like at some point, I feel like you just mess it up every night.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, I forgot a whole paragraph. Fine. Whatever.
I think you could get away with it, though. Like,
yeah. Like anyone's taking notes. Oh, I'm reading through the book. Oh, you didn't do that one.
I remember the first time I listened to the Harry Potter audiobooks. It was like the first time I'd ever listened to an audiobook.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just convinced they were going to be different. So I like followed along with the text.
Oh my gosh.
Well, because originally it started that like I got a PDF copy of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the Sorcerer's Stone audiobook. And I was convinced they were going to be different. Because like this is the one that's like Americanized or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just aren't. Like there's a couple different spellings.
Yeah, which wouldn't go through in an audiobook.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I'll tell you what, when you learn that that the British refer to Scotch tape as sellotape, the spellotape joke makes a lot more sense.
Oh,
There are definitely some things that we as Americans don't get in the little puns like that.
See, that happened to me last week. We were watching Narnia. We were watching Prince Caspian, and there's a joke where one of the kids takes his flashlight into Narnia, and the very last line of the movie is, "Oh man, I left my new torch in Narnia." And I always thought that was the best line in the world. Like, oh, he's calling it a torch. And Carrie's like, the British
That's what they
call them torches. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I thought that was so clever, and it wasn't.
Nope, it's just what they call flashlights.
I was so mad. I can't.
Good times.
So now I'll never forget the spellotape thing.
Yeah, so they call like the Scotch tape, they call sellotape.
Okay.
As I guess it's, I don't know, made of cellophane or something. I have no idea. I'm not British.
Well, sure.
We just don't, I don't know that they do the brand name thing like we do.
Yeah. Huh.
So.
All right.
That's what it is, and therefore spellotape is a pun on that, and not just a totally random, like, oh, it's spellotape. For all your magic tape needs.
Whatever.
I don't know. Oh, good old British people.
Yep. I'm still on book 4 of Harry Potter, and I've never read them, so...
Have you not?
No, that's our next series that we're going to do. We're going to I'm the newbie who hasn't read or watched Harry Potter.
Have you read? That's crazy.
Yep. So we're on book 4 right now.
God.
We're trying to record ahead.
So tell me about how did that happen?
Our generation honestly wasn't super into it. Like, Carrie didn't read it until we were older teenagers, and she read all of them in a week because she's psycho. She read one a day.
I've done that.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
That's, yep. I can't
That was our childhood.
Oh my gosh. Like, I think we grew up just a little behind the curve, but
Fair.
She had an older sibling who was kind of into it, so that helped. I am the oldest, so I was like, nah, this is whatever. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. If you're born in 99, you would have been like 8 years old when the last one came out.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, this thing is super popular and everyone's going crazy over it. Okay.
Man, that's wild. That's wild. Yeah, no, I've done the thing where you read them all in a week. Because, like, you know, there's a new one coming out. You got to read all the other 6 before you read the new one.
Gosh. No.
Yeah, no. I remember for the last 3, we went to Barnes & Noble and at midnight and did, like, the midnight release.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they would do, like, midnight release parties for the Harry Potter books.
I want to do a midnight release for a book.
And there would be all kinds of, like, activities and fun stuff, and everybody would dress up and, like... And then at midnight, they'd be like, okay, we got books. Let's go.
That is so fun.
And it's on a freaking Monday night because books come out on Tuesdays.
Oh my gosh.
So God bless my mother for taking me to Barnes & Noble for a midnight release of a Harry Potter book 3 times.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just got them like the day they came out. But I was not Harry Potter, Percy Jackson. That was my thing.
The only thing we ever did that for was Harry Potter. Like, and as far as I know, that didn't really happen for anything else.
Yeah, no, nothing's been as popular as that.
No.
Ever. I don't know if that'll ever happen again.
No. As much as people try to convince me that's the case with Percy Jackson, that they're anyway comparable.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they were popular, but they don't compare.
No, I had the first one. I never read it when I was younger. I watched the movie.
Oh.
Thought it was fine.
It's a fine movie by itself.
Yeah.
That's it.
I had nothing to compare it to. It was a decent movie.
Yeah.
I've gotten about 4 chapters into the first book. I can't stand the writing style, honestly.
Oh, man. See, I think it was way more impactful because we started reading it. So when, like, the first book, he's 12.
Yeah.
That's when Carrie and I started reading it, is 7th grade. We were 12 years old going on this adventure with him, growing up with him. So that's kind of I feel like that was your Harry Potter vibe. I never got that because I didn't start it early enough.
To some extent, definitely. As I kind of like grew up with those books. I think that the first one came out when I was like 7 or 8. No, like 6 or 7. I don't really remember. When? That can't be right. Hang on.
I feel like it came out a while ago. Can't remember.
It's 1998, so I was 5 years old.
Okay.
The first movie I think came out in 2001, so I'd have been 8, which is like, you know, right around there. But then I like caught up to the books.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, because he starts out at 11.
11, yeah. It's
So
one
it
per
makes
year.
sense, yeah. And that's basically what I did with Percy Jackson. Like, I didn't read it that slow, obviously. I was in his, like, 18 years old, and I was still, like, 14, but, you know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that when Percy Jackson came out, the first book, I was probably, like, right around that age, honestly. Percy Jackson book. This is just me Googling stuff at this point.
Yeah, because I remember I was behind the curve. Like, it had been out for a while, and it was our required reading in class.
The Lightning Thief was 2006, if that's the first one.
Yeah.
So I'd have been 13. And again, like,
that would have been, like, prime time.
Yeah, just me and my friends weren't those kids, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, we were not interested in books about 13-year-olds. And even going back and like reading the first few chapters of the first one, like, I don't think I would have been into it then. Like, I don't know. Maybe it was just like a generational thing. Cause like nobody I know that was my age read them back then.
That's so
like
weird
I remember some people had them, a couple people did, but for the most part, it just didn't happen. Like,
yeah.
And like Twilight came out the next year or whatever, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you got to read this. This is the thing."
Never read those or
I think
watched
that was when
them.
Twilight came out. Twilight was 2005, so I think the movie was 2007, 2008 or something like that. But yeah, so I remember when the movie came out, and even then I was just like, I don't really feel like I need to read this book. And nobody in my life at that point was like, oh yeah, you should read this book. And now I do this podcast, and half the people I talk to are like, what? You've never read the Percy Jackson books? They're incredible. And I'm just like, I just wasn't there for it.
Yeah, like I tried to have, when I was super, super into it, like starting out, I tried to have my mom read the first one, and she got through it, but I mean, woman's an English teacher, and she could barely get through this book. So it is a style. I think mine and Carrie's thing and our classmates really liked it because
I'd be careful how loud you say that.
What?
People get upset when you start trying to like talk about the style.
Whatever.
As any way being a negative thing.
Whatever, it's fine. I think for us, we wanted someone to relate to. And we wanted to insert ourselves into that world. I couldn't see myself in like the Hogwarts Harry Potter world for a while reading the books. I was like, I don't know. But with Percy Jackson, it was automatically like, oh, this would be my Greek godparent, or this, I would be part of this house or whatever.
Sure.
Like, just totally in. I don't know.
I think part of the difference there is that Harry Potter's third person.
Yeah.
And I really think that lends it some longevity as far as the actual like writing style goes.
Yeah, and the second Percy Jackson series is third person.
Yeah.
So that
I have heard that
helps it, and they're older. They're like 16, 17, 18-ish.
I just always felt like when I was reading the first one, I felt like it was an adult grown man trying to be like, oh, what's up? I'm a 13-year-old kid. I'm a cool kid.
And I haven't read it in a while because we're trying to do a series on Percy Jackson of like, adults trying to reread it who haven't read it in a while.
Yeah.
And I might get to that conclusion and be like, it wasn't as good as I thought it was. But like,
people if I ever try to say that, people get so pressed with me, and they're just like, there's nothing wrong with nostalgia, there's nothing wrong with this, like it's a perfectly acceptable thing, and like, you know, not everything has to be all dark and mature. And I'm like, that's fine, I just don't want that. Like,
yeah, everyone has their own opinions, it's fine.
It's just it's when people start to be like, well, it's, you know, it's just as good as Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and all this other stuff. I'm like, I mean, the world at large, I think, disagrees with you, and you just kind of have to deal with that one. Like, you can think that's fine, absolutely fine. Like, I love book series and movie series that like other people like. I love the Fast and Furious movies, unironically. Like, people are like, oh, it's, you know, it's just car porn and jokes and stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, but I love these movies unironically, and like I just deal with that, right? Like,
yeah, you just have to live.
Occasionally,
with that.
the hate will come my direction. I'll be like, you know what? It's about family.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the Percy Jackson people know who they are, and trying to defend it is kind of pointless.
Yeah. And you know, people, whatever your favorite thing is, there's always going to be somebody who hates that thing. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's life. You know, if you say this is your favorite movie, boy, howdy, there are people that hate you for thinking a movie like this is your favorite movie, like 1917.
Yeah.
Since we last recorded, my whole brand has come under fire because like I'm the one on the show that likes all the avant-garde, like artsy movies and stuff. And then, you know, I gushed over Mank when he did on the show a couple weeks ago, and now everybody's like, oh yeah, how you feeling, film bro? Paddington 2 is the greatest movie ever. How you feeling, you stupid little baby film school idiot? And I'm like, I just like, I'm sure Paddington 2 is great, but like it just is not the same conversation.
That's a whole thing. I don't even know.
There are a variety of reasons for which a movie can receive a 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Because you can get a 100% of Rotten Tomatoes score in all 6s, and you can get a Rotten Tomatoes 100 score in all 10s. There's
right.
There's a big difference there.
I'm sure
Paddington 2 is delightful, but it doesn't threaten me.
No. I don't understand that one. But I haven't seen either of them, so that's not fair. But I'm like,
I haven't either, but people love them.
I don't know about that.
From what I understand, they're just exceptionally good animated children's movies. To the point where like nobody can be like, I hate this. This pissed me off in some way. Or like no critic has tried to step to it and been like, yeah, this is a bad movie because the bears are too woke. Like,
the bears are too woke, man. I want that on a t-shirt.
Because if you dive into the Rotten Tomatoes scores on literally anything, you eventually start to come to people that just hate movies for the sake of hating movies, right?
Yeah, like they want to be special for
There's a guy named Armin White who's a Rotten Tomatoes reviewer, a guy named Armin White, and he hates everything. It's his whole brand is he hates everything.
And
he hates every
fine.
movie. And that's fine, but it's just like, you know, I could go in there and like, 3 negative reviews. I bet one of them is Armin White, and it sure is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so half the time he's the thing that's stopping it from being 100%. So it's complicated. Anyway, 1917. I got to tally up these listener scores real quick and get a Bacon and Eggs score. We actually got more listener scores than I thought we would for me having asked 5 minutes before we started. So
I love it so much.
I did my best.
It's actually a decent amount, like, especially for something that I wouldn't expect a lot of people to have seen.
I think it's one of those movies where if it didn't get the Oscar noms, that absolutely nobody would have seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember it got the nomination like before it was really, it was still out.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped a lot of people to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go see this movie that's playing at my local theater while none of these other movies are playing. Especially when one of them's in Korean.
Yeah. That one I still don't get. I'm not a big subtitle person. I don't know.
Oh man. Parasite's so good.
Maybe I need to change that.
You haven't seen it? Mm-mm. Oh, you gotta watch it. Movie's crazy. You want to talk about a movie that's suspenseful where you're waiting for the thing to happen the whole time and it just doesn't happen? That's Parasite.
Will I hate that though?
No, you won't.
Where would I be able to see that?
To see Parasite?
Yeah.
Hang on one second. I counted wrong somewhere. Hang on. Because that would give me an over 100 score.
Someone is weed eating outside, but they've been doing it for like 30 minutes and I'm dying. It's terrible.
We had an episode back in the day where Tyler recorded from his porch at a lake house and somebody was weed eating. And at one point, he just stopped talking because the dude wouldn't stop weed eating. And I left in the full 8 minutes of weed eater noises.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because he made comments over top of it and it was hilarious.
Dude, that's so good. No, it's just like this whirring underneath, just like in the movie. Yeah. Because I'm pretty much right by the outside of my house. So I'm like, this is great. It's not my brother. It's gotta be the neighbor. I'm mad about it.
Are you ever that far from the outside of your house?
I probably wouldn't be able to hear it in the living room, or I wouldn't notice.
Fair.
This is
But is that just because it's
right
on a different side of the house, or is your living room just in the dead center with no windows?
It's the dead center, but it's got a window to the backyard, so it probably wouldn't catch it that much.
Gotcha. Just the way you said that, you were like, I'm pretty close to the outside of my house. I'm like, feel like every room in your house pretty much shares a wall with the outside.
Well, it's like I'm pretty much in the garage right now, so
Okay.
it's like right there. I don't know.
Okay.
Right by the neighbor who would be doing their lawn right now. In the middle of the day on a Tuesday.
Club going up on a Tuesday. All right, cool. I have a listener score from Bacon and Eggs listeners over on Discord and Facebook. Shout out Bacon and Eggs listeners that helped bail me out last minute because I forgot to ask for scores. Y'all are the best. Listeners gave it an 87 out of 100. And that gets us a Bacon and Eggs combined score of 83, which is exactly what I said, which is wild. That puts us 83. That puts us, hang on. What's the tiebreaker here? Bear with me. Sorry. 82.8. That puts us dead heat with Stranger Than Fiction.
Oh my gosh.
What a wild, wild world we live in.
Oh, that's a time.
I'm going to put this below Stranger Than Fiction.
That's fine.
I think.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put this below Stranger... Oh. Yeah, yes, that's what I wanted. So it's above Hearts Beat Loud. And below Stranger Than Fiction, we have 1917, the Oscar Beatty war movie. Interesting. Okay, well, that's the Bacon and Egg score for you, ladies and gentlemen. Is an 83. That puts it at number 14 on our list for the year.
Wow.
The 14th best movie we've covered in year 4. So, Jade, where can we find you on the internet? Tell us about all the cool things you do.
So much internet. So you can find us at Curly Critics Pod. We have a Gmail, curlycriticspod@gmail.com. Twitter, Instagram, it's all the same. And anywhere you listen to podcasts and WBNE.org.
Love that. Love that. Listen to Curly Critics every single week. They talk about things.
Get merch.
Get the merch. Yo, I didn't even know we sold baseball tees. Heck yeah.
Dude, literally, it is just the product of my indecision because long sleeve, short sleeve, I don't have to decide.
That's so cool. I love baseball tees. I haven't worn a baseball tee in a while, but I used to love them.
It's like my favorite shirt now, so...
I still don't understand why they're called baseball tees. I think that they used to wear them underneath their uniforms back in the day. These like 3/4 length sleeve. I don't know. I played Little League baseball and that was it. So our uniforms were basically t-shirts with numbers on them.
Yeah, we're like a football state, so I can't tell you.
What, Texas? No way.
No, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
That's what we should have done. Friday Night Lights. Either the show or the movie.
Oh my gosh.
I have seen none of the show.
My mom used to watch that. Throwback. Oh my gosh.
That scares me.
Yep.
Not that I feel like your mom and I are the same age, but like just that you were like, my mom used to watch it because that was a big thing for people my age. When that show was on.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
it's very much like reality TV drama stuff. So
Yeah. And apparently everybody in it is hot. And so all the girls that I knew were like, oh my God, Coach Riggins.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like 10.
Yeah, I was, I guess, 17.
Yeah.
So who knows? Anyway, Jade, thank you for coming on this week. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you. I'd love to come and talk to you about something sometime. I'd love to have both you and Carrie back on to go over a movie. We'll figure something out. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for helping me out here while Tyler has a baby. Yay. I got to meet him. He's the cutest.
Oh, yeah.
He's the sweetest little guy. He's so small. He's this little guy. I mean, he's longer than that, but like, I don't know.
You're like, I I don't know.
He's super long, actually. When he stretches out, because he does this like thing where they just like and do this big stretch. And he's long. He's bigger than Olivia was, but he's so cute. Little Tyler guy. So that was great. I got to meet the child, and it was wonderful.
The child.
The child. Oh, it just makes me miss The Mandalorian. I want it to come back.
I think I'm gonna start that show today. I've never seen it.
Oh my God! What? Come on!
Don't at me. I definitely was a horrible lockdown person. I didn't do all the normal lockdown things. Like
I didn't watch Tiger King, but I've got most of them. You're in for such a treat.
It is May 4th. I think I must. I think it's the law.
Yeah, you're in for such a treat. Maybe today's the day I'll revisit Rogue One and decide I actually like it.
Yes, it's so good.
We'll see. But let me know how you think about The Mandalorian. Anyway, this has been Bacon and Eggs. Our graphics are by Vish on Brandon, graphite.vmb on Instagram. You can find all the great shows we do on the WBNE Podcast Network, WBNE.org. And Carrie, no, you're not Carrie.
They're the same.
Yeah, she's alphabetically first, so my brain just tries to go Carrie, Jade, whatever. I'm alphabetically first, but it's Tyler and Ethan, so whatever. Who knows? Anyway, I've been Ethan Edgehill. She's been Jade Scivally, and on behalf of Tyler Carlin, bye. Arrivederci.